Why your brain's reset button is hidden from you. There's a secret the tech giants don't want you discovering. Your brain can completely rewire itself. It's called neuroplasticity, and it's your escape hatch from digital slavery. But here's the catch. It requires you to do something terrifying. Sit alone with yourself. No screens, no distractions, just you and the silence. And for most people, that's scarier than any horror movie. There's a condition spreading like wildfire that nobody talks about. It's called anhedonia, the inability to feel pleasure from normal activities. You can't enjoy a sunset. A conversation feels like work. Food tastes like cardboard. Music sounds flat. It's not depression. It's overstimulation poisoning. Your dopamine receptors are so fried from constant digital hits that real life doesn't register anymore. You're not broken. You're just overloaded. Anna Lemke, a Stanford psychiatrist, ran a fascinating experiment with addiction patients. She made them quit cold turkey for 30 days. No exceptions. No tapering. Complete abstinence from their vice. The first 2 weeks were brutal. Panic attacks, rage, sleepless nights. But around day 20, something miraculous happened. Patients reported that ordinary things felt extraordinary again. Colors seemed brighter. Jokes were actually funny. Small talk became engaging. Their brains had reset. Power Law 28 states, enter action with boldness. And there's no bolder move today than disconnecting. While everyone's racing to consume more, post more, achieve more followers, you do the opposite. You vanish strategically, not from weakness, from strength. Because whoever controls your attention controls your destiny. And if you're not controlling your attention, someone else is pulling the strings. Here's the final conspiracy nobody discusses openly. The real elite don't use what they sell you. Steve Jobs banned iPads from his kids. Google executives send their children to tech-free schools. They know exactly what these devices do to developing brains. And they make damn sure to protect their own families while selling the poison to yours. This isn't speculation. It's documented corporate policy. The final practical action: establish resistance zones in your life. Sacred spaces where technology cannot enter. Your bedroom is a resistance zone. No phone 1 hour before sleep or after waking. Your meals are resistance zones. You eat with full attention, tasting every bite. Your conversations are resistance zones. Phone stays pocketed, eyes stay locked. Sounds easy? Try it for 1 week. You'll discover just how addicted you really are and what it's costing your humanity. Controlling your reward system isn't about denying pleasure. It's about consciously choosing where to invest your dopamine. You can spend it on likes that vanish or accomplishments that last, on external validation or internal construction, on being a product or being a producer. The choice was always yours. You just forgot you had that power. If you made it this far, type sovereign in the comments. Like this video so more people discover this truth. Subscribe, because we'll keep revealing what they're hiding from you. And share this with someone who needs to hear it. Because knowledge without action is just entertainment. And you didn't come here to be entertained. You came here to wake up. What if you're feeding the wrong beast inside you? Your brain runs on 2 reward systems. One builds empires. The other builds prisons. And you've probably been feeding the wrong one your entire life. Let me break it down. There's the short-term reward system that gives instant gratification but leaves you hollow. And there's the long-term reward system that demands effort but delivers lasting fulfillment. The problem? The short-term system screams louder, and corporations have mastered exploiting it. Researchers ran a disturbing experiment on human choice. They offered volunteers 2 options: receive $10 immediately or $100 in a month. The overwhelming majority grabbed the $10, even knowing rationally that waiting would be 10 times more profitable. This is called hyperbolic temporal discounting. Your primitive brain absurdly overvalues what's close, even when it's inferior. And our entire modern economy was built to weaponize this flaw. Infinite streaming, food delivery apps, pornography on demand, one-click purchases. Everything was designed to eliminate the gap between craving and satisfaction. Because in that gap lives something dangerous to the system: reflection. If you had to wait, you'd think. If you thought, you'd realize you don't need it. But they removed the waiting, and with it, they removed your power of conscious choice. Power Law 16 warns us, use absence to increase respect and honor, but you do the opposite. You're always available, always online, always consuming. Your constant presence diminishes your own value to others and, more critically, to yourself. Every time you surrender to immediate impulse, you train your brain to be weak, to be enslaved by the moment, to be incapable of building anything requiring patience. Here's the dark secret: billion-dollar companies don't make money selling products. They make money selling your attention to advertisers. You're not the customer, you're the product. And the longer you stay on the platform, the more valuable you become to them. That's why algorithms are engineered to trap you. Videos that autoplay, notifications strategically timed, infinite feeds that never end. It's not entertainment, it's industrial manipulation. There's a conspiracy theory few discuss openly. Major tech corporations hire the same psychologists who worked on government mind control programs, not for torture, for engagement optimization. The techniques are identical: intermittent reinforcement, sleep deprivation, constant stimulation, social isolation disguised as connection. Break down a person's psychological resistance until they can't say no anymore. Sounds extreme? Check your screen time statistics. The practical action now: implement the 20-minute rule. When you feel the urge to check social media, watch something, or impulse buy, wait 20 minutes. Do anything else in that window. Walk, drink water, breathe. 80% of the time, the craving disappears. Because it wasn't need. It was just your reward system begging for a hit. You're retraining your brain to tolerate the discomfort of delay. This tolerance separates powerful people from weak people. The powerful control their impulses. The weak are controlled by them. Type resistance in the comments if you're implementing this. Like if you realized you're the product, not the customer. And subscribe because the next part reveals how corporations weaponized your biology. How they turned your brain into a slot machine. Dopamine wasn't discovered by accident. It was mapped, studied, and weaponized. And you're the target. While the world watched the space race, a silent war was happening in behavioral psychology labs. Scientists discovered something chilling. The human brain responds more powerfully to the possibility of reward than to the reward itself. This discovery changed everything. Not to help you, to control you. Think about Las Vegas slot machines. They don't pay out every time. They pay randomly. And that's precisely what makes them addictive. If they always paid, you'd lose interest. If they never paid, you'd stop playing. But unpredictability? That keeps you pulling the lever. Your social media feed works identically. You scroll not knowing what comes next. Sometimes it's interesting, sometimes it's boring, but you keep scrolling because the next post might be the one that gives you the hit. This is called variable reinforcement, and it's the most effective manipulation technique ever created. B. Pfeffer Skinner, the psychologist who perfected this technique on pigeons, called it operant conditioning. He discovered that randomly rewarded behaviors are nearly impossible to extinguish. His pigeons kept pecking buttons even after days without receiving food. Sound familiar? How many times did you check your phone today expecting something important, but found only emptiness? And yet, you checked again minutes later. You've been conditioned. Power Law 27 states, create an air of necessity by creating cult-like followers. Tech companies have mastered this law. They don't sell products. They sell belonging, status, social validation. Every like is proof you matter. Every comment is confirmation you exist. But this validation is strategically rationed. If you received all the attention you crave, you'd stop producing content. So they give you just enough to keep you hooked, but never satisfied. Here's the terrifying part. Your brain can't distinguish between real and virtual rewards. When you get a like, your limbic system fires dopamine the same way it would if you accomplished something tangible. But there's a crucial difference. Real rewards build your life. Virtual rewards just drain your time. You're working for free to feed algorithms while your actual potential rots. The practical action for this part: implement the real reward system. For every hour you spend on social media, demand from yourself 1 hour doing something that generates tangible results. Write a page, Train for 30 minutes. Learn a skill. Build something with your hands. Your brain needs to relearn that true satisfaction comes from achievement, not digital validation. At first, it'll feel like heavy labor because your neural pathways are addicted to the easy road. But persist. In 30 days, you'll have created a new neural circuit, and unlike likes, this circuit stays. If this information resonated, type liberation in the comments. Drop a like if you realized how you've been played, and subscribe because the next part exposes the experiment that predicted your addiction. E se su, cerebro est sendo controlado, sem, vox saber. There's a chemical flooding your brain right now that's more addictive than cocaine, more powerful than heroin, and completely legal. Its name? Dopamine. And while you think you're in control, it's commanding every choice you make, every notification you check, every infinite scroll, every impulse purchase. You're not weak. You've been hacked. In 1954, a disturbing experiment revealed something terrifying about the human brain. Lab rats were given the ability to stimulate their own pleasure centers through a lever. The result? They pressed that lever up to 7,000 times per hour. They ignored food, ignored water, ignored sexual partners. Just press the lever until they died from exhaustion. This isn't science. It's a mirror of what you do with your phone. Major corporations know this. The apps you use were designed by neuroscientists and behavioral psychologists who studied these exact experiments. They don't want your attention. They want your reward system. And they got it. Every like is a dose. Every message is an injection. You became the rat in the experiment, and the button is in your pocket. Power Law 40 teaches us, despise the free lunch. But we live in an era where everything seems free. Free social media, free videos, infinite free content. Except you're paying with your dopamine, with your focus, with your capacity to feel real satisfaction. The price is invisible, but the bill arrives as chronic anxiety, depression, and a permanent sense of emptiness. Here's the secret nobody tells you. Dopamine isn't pleasure. It's anticipation. It's the promise of reward, not the reward itself. That's why you never feel satisfied. You're always chasing the next notification, the next video, the next purchase. Your brain was hijacked by an infinite cycle of expectation without fulfillment. And this was intentional. But there's an exit, a practical action few know about. Strategic dopamine fasting. Choose 1 day per week where you completely cut artificial dopamine sources. No social media, no streaming, no pornography, no fast food, only low stimulation activities, walking, reading, writing, thinking. The first few days, you'll feel real withdrawal, anxiety, irritation, deep boredom. That's your brain realizing it's been fooled. But after a few weeks, something extraordinary happens. You start feeling pleasure in simple things again. A conversation becomes interesting. A meal becomes tasty. Silence becomes comfortable. You resensitize your dopamine receptors. If you understood the power of this strategy, write control in the comments. Like this video if you want to reclaim command of your brain, and subscribe to the channel because we still have much to reveal about how you were programmed without knowing it.